Hey kiddos, today we are going to be discussing multiplying expressions. All right, so recall, meaning you should already know this information technically. When multiplying variables, okay, we have to add the exponents. So in other words, the shortcut here is that a squared times a to the fifth power, all we would really have to do is a to the 2 plus 5 power, which results in the answer of a to the 7th power. Now, for those of you who are horrible at remembering rules, there's another way that you can actually break this down to get the right answer. You guys should hopefully know that a squared is essentially a times a times a to the fifth power is going to be a times a times a times a times a. And then if you just count up all of the a's, you will see that there's a total of 7 of them. So that's kind of another way that you can go about doing these problems as well. Number 2. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the big numbers here because we actually are going to legitimately multiply those, okay? So 3 times 8, okay, is what we're doing. So 3 times 8 gives us 24. All right, so we do get 24. And then again, remember the rule with the exponents, since it has the same variable, you would take x, and we would take 3, and we would add it to 5, and 3 plus 5 leaves us with x to the 8th power. Again, if you're struggling with how do you really get 8, you can break it down by x to the 3rd power is x times x times x, times x to the 5th power is x times x times x times x times x. And if you, again, count those x's all up together, you would have a total of 8. All right, number 3. Again, just like before, we're going to circle these values right here because those are the first numbers we're going to multiply. And a negative times a negative results in a positive answer. So we're going to end up with a positive 15. Then here you have to be careful because you have two different variables. You have the letter A and the letter B. Obviously, we got to match A's with A's, B's with B's. So I have A first, and I have 2. And then I have in the second parentheses, we have 1. So that's 2 plus 1. Excuse my horrible handwriting. B is the next letter. In the first one, I only have 1 plus, second one, we have 2. So we would end up with 15 a to the 3rd power, b to the 3rd power would be our complete answer. Remember, if you're not really understanding how do I get all those a's and all those b's together, you can always draw it out and then literally count up your letters to get your exponent. Number 4. This time we have 3 values that we're going to be multiplying. So you have negative 3 times negative 4. So make sure you do that first. So you get negative 3 times negative 4 gives you 12, positive. And then 12 times that 5 gives us 60. All right, now again, we have two different variables, x and y. So let's do x first. I notice that in the first parentheses, I have only 1x, plus in the second parenthesis, I also have only 1x. And in the third parenthesis, there is no x's, so I'll leave that as that. And then y's, first parentheses, there is 1. Second parentheses, there is none. But in the last parentheses, there are 3. So when we break that down and we add those exponents, we get 60 x squared y to the 4th. Again, please remember, if you totally don't get how to do that part, you can always just write down all of the letters out and you can easily add them up yourself. All right, so here you can notice these are basically problems of distribution. I know that these are problems of distribution because we have a value on the outside of parentheses. So that's kind of the big giveaway of distribution here. So essentially what we're going to be doing in this first problem is I'm going to circle what I'm distributing, which is the 5x squared, and I have to distribute it to everything that's on the inside of the parentheses. It wouldn't be fair if I did not distribute it to everything on the inside, okay? I don't want to leave anybody out, so that's why we have to make sure we do that. So 5x squared times 2x, and then you get 5x squared times negative 3. Kind of how I would break it down. So 5x squared times 2x. 5 times 2 is 10. I have 2 x's there and an x there, so that's a total of 3. So I get 10x cubed. And then for the second part, we have 5 times negative 3, which is minus 15. X squared is the only thing that I have left. So there goes... So I just bring it down. Then when I combine it, we get 10x cubed minus 15x squared. Notice you cannot combine these terms because they're not alike. That would be our final answer. Number 6. So we are distributing to AB. It's on the outside. And basically what we're doing is 2AB times 3A squared, and then 2AB times positive 2B squared. So I'm going to break it down like so. So I'm just rewriting what I just said. 2AB times 3A squared. Okay, so if you need to do this step by step, let's just go ahead and work that part out first. So you get 2 times 3, 6. I have A and then A squared, which is 2A, so that's a total of 3 A's, A cubed. And then I only have 1 B. All right, so we did that part. Then we have second part, 2AB times 2B squared. 2 times 2 is a positive 4, so there's where plus 4 comes into play. I only have 1A, but I do have B, and then B squared is 2B's, so that's a total of 3B's, and that goes there. Notice I cannot combine those because they are not like terms, so that would be the whole answer. Number 7. Again, we're multiplying what's outside the parentheses, which in this case is xy. So two different variables, xy times x squared y. So I'm going to write that part first. I'm going to break that down. X and x squared gives me x cubed. Y and y gives me y squared. Then we would multiply, so we just multiplied, So just multiplied this. Now let's go to the next one. So now it's xy times negative x cubed. Negative x cubed y squared, So all of that, let's see what we get. X times a negative x cubed. So obviously the answer is going to be negative. And that would be a total of, that's 1x here. And then I have 3 x's there. So that would be, adding them would give me a total of 4 x's. So x to the 4th power. Then I have 1 y and then 2 y's. So that would give me a total of 3 y's. So y to the 3rd power. These terms are not alike. So therefore, that means we cannot combine them. So that would be our answer. All right, and finally, problem number 8. Again, just as before, it's distribution because we have something on the outside of the parentheses. So I'm going to circle it, and it's 5xy, and I'm multiplying it to 1, 2, 3 different items on the inside of the parentheses. So 5xy times 2x is what I'm going to do first. 5 times 2, so notice I do it with the big numbers first. 5 times 2 is 10. How many x's do I have? 1, 2. So that's x squared. And then there's only one y, so I make sure I bring that down. Next, we have 5xy times the negative 3y. All right, so hopefully we notice 5 times negative 3 results in a negative 15. We have only 1x, and we have 2 y's. All right, now on to the last one, 5xy times negative 5. I'm going to multiply the numbers first, so therefore 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. And we have only 1x and 1 y. So we will write x, y. None of those are going to combine because they're not alike. So this is going to be our answer. All right, now we're going to take distribution and take it to another level. Basically, we're doing double distribution. Some of you may recall FOIL, first, outer, inners, and last. Okay. Some of you may have seen the box method before. I'll show it in class if it's something that you recall or want to see, because some of you may find it easier than FOIL or double distribution. So let's go ahead and work this out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the x, okay, because that's my first number. So I'm going to multiply the first, meaning x times x. X times x is a total of 2 x's. So I get x squared. All right, so I multiply my first. Now my outers, so that's x times 3. X times 3 is going to be positive 3x. All right, now I for inners, which is going to be negative 5 times x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And then finally, L for your last, which is negative 5 times 3. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Usually when we do double distribution, FOIL, the values on the inside usually are going to be like terms, meaning that we can combine them. So you always need to make sure that you bring down the beginning and the end. So we get x squared, then 3x minus 5x leaves us with a total of negative 2x minus 15. And that would be our answer. All right, number 10. Same exact concept as before. FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So starting off with 2x times x. All right, we know that's going to be 2x and x gives us x squared. All right, now we're going with our outers. 2x times negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, and there is 1x. Now we go with our inners. 1 times x is positive 1x. And finally, L for last. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Notice two values on the inside here can be combined. So I'm going to make sure I bring down the 2x squared. Negative 10x plus 1x results in negative 9x. And then also make sure I bring down that minus 5. And that would be our answer. The next one is actually really unique. And I say that it's unique because the values are the same, 3x, 5, and 5. The only difference is one is positive, one is negative. So therefore, something unique is going to happen when we work out this problem. Some of you may actually already know what's going to happen, and that's cool. So 3x times 3x, 3 times 3 gives us 9. X times x gives us x squared. All right, then we go to 3x times negative 5. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15x. All right, now moving on. Positive 5 times 3x, positive 15x. And finally, the last part, positive 5 times negative 5. Positive times negative is always negative, and that would be 25. So again, we notice that the two center points do combine. So we bring down what's in the beginning, the 9x squared. Hopefully what you guys have realized is that they actually cancel out to 0. Negative 15x plus 15x is 0, so no, it doesn't exist anymore. So it kind of, in a sense, cancels out. But do not forget to bring down that minus 25. So the 9x squared minus 25 is our answer. I kind of already helped you guys out on number 12. Anytime you have parentheses and you have an exponent of 2 on the outside, basically means you're taking what's on the inside and you're multiplying it twice. So notice I went ahead and I rewrote it for you. So it's 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2. I want you guys to actually do this one on your own. All right? And we will most definitely go over this in class. But hopefully you guys are kind of catching how to do this double distribution business. And it's only going to get even more intense. I know, no fun. So 13 is just like actually the previous one, and so is 14. So 13 and 14 are just like the previous page. So let's do 13. The only difference I would probably say between this is I don't think your previous problems have had two different variables. 13 does have two different variables. There is an A and there's a B. So make sure you're conscious of that while we work these problems out. So let's start off with 3A. And we're doing 3A times 3A. And 3 times 3 is 9. A times A gives us the A squared. All right, now 3A times 2B. 3 times 2 gives us 6. You have an A and a B, so that means you have to keep it, A and a B. All right, now for our innards, negative 2B times 3A. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. I have an A and a B, so I'm going to put AB. You could also write BA, if because we're going in that order, but totally don't have to. And then the last one is negative 2B times positive 2B. Well, negative 2 times positive 2 is a negative 4. You have B and a B, so that makes it B to the second power. Now, what you guys should notice still is that the two values in the middle are actually like terms. They are like terms because they both contain 1A and 1B. 1A and 1B. So we can actually combine those. So I'm going to make sure that I bring down what's in the beginning, 9A squared. And then positive 6AB minus 6AB is, what do you know? 0. So that actually cancels out. So all I have to do now is bring down the negative 4B squared. And 9A squared minus 4B squared would be our answer. 14, again, is like the one that I explained, problem number 12. So I had that 5x plus 2 with a squared on the outside. So that basically means I'm multiplying what's inside the parentheses twice. So that's why I rewrote it twice. So we have 5x times 5x, 5 times 5, 25, x times x, x squared. All right, then 5x times 2, 5 times 2, positive 10, and then you only have 1x. Then we go here to 2 times 5x. 2 times 5x is positive 10x. And then the last part is 2 times 2, which is positive 4. We should notice the ones in the middle combine. So you end up with 25x squared plus 10 and 10 is 20x plus 4. All right, we got 2 more problems left, and they are a little bit more complicated because notice in the first parentheses we have 2 terms, but in the second parentheses we have 1, 2, 3 terms. So it's not like FOIL anymore, but we are going to take the first value in the first parenthesis, and we're going to multiply it to everything in the second parenthesis. And then we'll work with the second term in this first parenthesis. So let's deal with the first one first. Okay, so x times x squared. That would mean that we have 1x and then we have 2 x's. So that's 1, 2, 3 x's. So that is x cubed. All right, x times negative 5x. X times negative 5x, that gives us a negative 5. We have x and an x, so that's 2 of them. So therefore that's x squared. Then finally, x times 10, positive 10 that is. So that is positive 10x. All right, now let's move to the second value inside the first parenthesis, which is positive 5. Positive 5 times x squared is positive 5x squared. Positive 5 times negative 5x. 5 times negative 5 gives us negative 25, and there is 1 x in that, so x. And finally, positive 5 times positive 10, positive 50. Now we have to look to see if we have any like terms to combine. I don't see any more x cubes, so that's going to come down. Do you have any x squares? Sure do. Do you have any just regular x's? I sure do. And notice nothing is going to go with that positive 50, so I'd be bringing that down. So negative 5x squared plus 5x squared, well, coincidentally, those actually cancel each other out to 0. So we don't have that anymore. Then 10x plus a negative 25x would result in negative 15x. And then, as I said, we would bring down that positive 50. So x cubed minus 15x plus 50 would be our answer for that. One more problem. Phew. 2y times 4y squared. Deal with the numbers first. 2 times 4, 8. Now let's deal with the variables. I have 1y and then y squared. So that would mean I have a total of 3y, so that's y cubed. Then 2y times 6y. 2 times 6, 12. I have a y here with the 2 and a y with the 6, so that's 2y, so that's y squared. And then finally, 2y times 9. 2 times 9, positive 18. And then there's just 1y. All right, moving on to the next value in that first parenthesis, which is negative 3. So negative 3 times 4y squared. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. We'll only have the y squared, so I'd keep it. Negative 3 now times 6y. Negative 3 times 6, negative 18, and we only have one y value. And finally, the last one, negative 3 times 9. So negative 3 times positive 9 is going to be a negative 27. All right, we're looking to see if we can combine anything. Any y cubes? Nope, just that one. So it's going to be brought down. Any y squares? Yes, 12y squared and negative 12y squared. Any y's? Yep, 18y and then negative 18y. And anything with just a plain number? Nope, just the negative 27. All right, so I'm going to bring down the 8y cubed. What you should notice here is that 12y squared and negative 12y squared actually cancel each other out. So no more y squares. And then let's see, positive 18y minus 18y. Well, hey, what do you know? Those cancel each other out too. So all I really have to bring down is the minus 27. So therefore, this answer is 8y cubed minus 27. Be sure that if you have any questions that you jot them down. And yeah, that's it. Way to go.